Hello everybody, my name is Goodboy and welcome to my first reactions, although these are kind of second reactions to be fair, but my reactions, shall we say, to the 21.03 patch notes. Essentially a wealth of nerfs to ruin your favourite combos and fun. And generally I'm opposed to these kind of nerfs because it does, I find it ruins fun. But actually, I think the kind of the principle and what the devs have said is what we're trying to do here is allow for lots of different other archetypes that are a bit slower to actually work instead of just being destroyed all the time by turn 6 or whatever. And to be fair, having used some of these combos, particularly with Warlock, I can understand why. So let's have a look at some of the nerfs. So Incanter's Flow. Now I have long said this is a particularly broken card. It's super easy, particularly with Mage, to build spell decks that have no minions in it all. You don't really need them. And there is, even with the recent quest line, it literally makes a difference. So you're getting incredibly cheap spells at a reduced cost throughout the game, and it just means that you can spam so many spells so quickly. So slowing down the pace of doing that, I think, is really good. And works really well. Obviously annoying if you like spamming mage spells, but I probably would have said that's probably one of the best mage cards out there. I mean, to be fair, the recent epic fire one where you shuffle each deck and it does more damage, I think is probably does need a nerf as well, but that makes sense. And also, for example, what I would do is turn 2 I'd play it, and then turn 3 I'd play it as well, and then it's just like super cheap spells. Now there's no way that you can do that. You know, you've been delayed by at least a turn. Now, this one here for Il'gynoth, I didn't feel was as warranted, to be honest. Because the kind of deck that requires this to work, you have to have pretty exceptional circumstances to drop this turn 4 and actually use it. You're usually waiting till at least, I would say, turn 6, maybe even turn 7, or even later to spam this out. So the fact that they've bumped it up by a mana cost of 2 is somewhat of a surprise to me, shall we say. I think it also really limits the other combos that you do with it, because what you want to do is you want to drop your different demons, then you want your lifesteal beam, or your, whichever one you're picking. So to me this seems very extreme, like you're trying to ruin the combo for it. And if I'm honest, for an archetype that is good but it's not that good, I mean, maybe at the pro level I'm missing something, and perhaps that's what it is. But yeah, this to me seemed like an overreaction. I think going from 4 to 5 would have made more sense for an archetype that's already difficult to run, and I didn't think was particularly that effective. But perhaps I'm missing something. So that seems a bit overkill. But anyway, this one makes complete sense. They've just essentially made it from a 2 mana 2/3 to a 3 mana 3/4. That makes complete sense. I mean, the synergy this has, where you just spam damage yourself, means that, again, those Warlock decks come online really quickly. So this seems fair to me. Now, this, again, actually, funny enough, goes into Warlock decks, but not just Warlock decks. It's any deck that has a heavy-hitting minion is actually really at risk of this. Adjacent minions have Wind Fury, so if you have literally anything on the board that doesn't have Summoning Sickness, congratulations, all you have to do is play this card and then it smashes for double damage. So I've seen this in Paladin, seen it in Warlock decks, any deck that can have any kind of big hitters pretty much runs this, and it's pretty overpowered, frankly. So I think it makes sense that they've done a nerf there. Will it see more nerfs? I don't know. I would kind of expect there to be, because this is actually an incredibly strong card if you think about it. You're essentially giving 2 minions Wind Fury, so you can pack a lot of damage. I mean, this is, I was dropping down my I think they're called Flesh Giants, 2 8/8s, and then I'd drop this for like 1 mana each, and then the following turn I'd drop, if they weren't destroyed, which often they weren't, I'd drop this next to them, and that's 16 and 16, so it's 32 damage. Absolutely absurd. So seeing this one here, the Kolkar Pack Runner, a lot in Hunter decks, and it's a really great card, and it's actually very cheap, and it allows you to spam a lot of hyenas. So making this a 2/3 to a 3/4 for for 1 extra mana makes sense to me as well, and I think that really does slow down hunter decks that use that archetype. But given how hunter's kind of gone on a bit of a back burner for other archetypes, I'm a little bit surprised this actually got nerfed. But anyway. This is a good card. This is actually a very, very good card in elemental decks, and again in duels, this is having a great time. They've only knocked off 1 health from it though. I mean, obviously it will die easier, but that didn't strike me as particularly massive. And the battle cry does the same thing, which is pretty nuts, to be honest. So I don't. Yeah, I mean, this is more its impact in wild and in duels, I would say, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference, frankly. So right now, Conviction costs 2 mana. So every time you play Conviction, it costs 2 mana instead of 1. That does slow it down. It is very, very strong. You can use it to finish. It makes sense they would do this. But again, the way you play decks that run this, it doesn't really matter because you put your minions down the turn before, they're ready to attack, and then you play this card, and that's the first thing you do. You can also reduce the cost of it anyway, using means of attack. So I don't feel that this is going to be a particularly effective nerf. I think it's just more annoying, if anything. Right, yeah. Now here we go. Flesh Giant. That's the other one as well. This guy can easily come out turn 4, or even turn 3 as a 1-drop, or a nothing drop. So yeah, it makes complete sense they would knock up 1 mana there to slow it down, probably by a turn. So instead of dropping at turn 4, you have to wait to turn 5. That kind of makes sense. But I don't think this really. They have achieved what their goal is, which is slowing down the pace of the game a little bit. But fundamentally, the broken combos that we're seeing have remained, largely speaking, unchanged. There were also a few things I thought would get nerfed. But then, like the quest lines, some of the quest lines I think are particularly insane. But it looks like they're leaving that alone for now. They're just messing with the combos. As you see, look here, dev cards have 2 weeks of monitoring rapidly evolving Stormwood launch metagame, making a few balance changes to slow down the speed of the game by a turn or 2. Truly, that's 2 things: limits the efficiency of combo decks and reduces the burst damage. And here it is. Look, we hope that the changes will make room for slower strategies to find success in this meta. Which makes sense, and I think in my opinion, the best metas are where any strategy can work within reason. So I think that's right. Okay, so that's that side there, and I'll just quickly talk about Battlegrounds. I'm not massively into Battlegrounds right now, certainly not in lieu of duels, but some of these changes are pretty cool. So they've changed it. So Shudderwock. Old, Burbling, your next battle cry costs, this turn triggers twice. Now, instead, you get New, which is Snicker Snack, which adds a 1/1 shuttling to your hand that repeats all battle cries you've played. And you get to do this twice per game. That, to me, I think is pretty insane. Like this, if you think about this, like the synergies with that, it's absurd. I'm very much looking forward to playing this. They've adjusted it now. Dancing Daryl now gives you 3 +1s instead of 2. This used to be so broken with neutral minions, but then they took the really good. The thing that made this really good was you'd have a 1/1 Divine Shield Taunt, and then you literally would just from the 1-drop pool you would just smash it again and again and again with these +1s. So that by the time you got to like turn 4 or 5 or whatever it is, you'd have like 2 of these 1/1 taunts that were now 20/20. It was brilliant. So that kind of makes it more viable again, but again without the minion. Now this I see as a massive improvement to Fungal Mance or Flurgle. So before, whenever you sold a Murloc, you got a Murloc in Bob's Tavern. Now when you sell any minion, you get a Murloc, and I think this makes it way, way, way better. So again, I look forward to using that. So Meve, Shadowstrong, I always saw that as weak. I never really thought like why on earth would I do that? I mean, it did grow on me a little bit, but I think this buff helps this make it a bit more, enjoyable. Now, this is sort of interesting. Replace a minion with a random one of the same tavern tier, yeah? I actually thought that was pretty good on its own. Now you get to do it twice. Oh my gosh. That's absolutely bonkers. So, you know, that, again, all... I mean, I don't really like Maeve's Shadow Songs, but these other here, I'll be playing them all and trying them out all. I never really, since they introduced Quillboss, I've not really enjoyed it as much, but anyway. Right, so the arena has been updated. So certain cards that you like playing with Druid, Warrior, Demon Hunter have now decreased, and then all the others, their win rate should increase proportionally. But there was a bit of some of the cards they were getting for those 3 hero types meant that they had a disproportionately better pool of heroes, which led to better win rates. They've now adjusted, theoretically they've adjusted that by changing the buckets. I don't particularly play Arena. I feel like it's a really limited way to play the game, and it's a good way to lose your gold and not really get anything for it except for getting frustrated. So I really have no... I think Arena used to be fun. You used to be able to draft some pretty OP decks. Now it's just a ball of average fighting other average. And even if you get like good legendaries, you still end up winning 3 and losing 3. So it's just like, ugh, can't be bothered. And then there's a lot of bug fixes, which is, you know, great they're doing that, but, you know, not particularly concerned. So I think actually, on the whole, with this balance update, my final caveat, as it were, for the day is I particularly agree with these changes here. And these are buffs. And I think it's going to be frustrating for players that are loving these combos right now and playing them all the time, myself included. But actually, the pace of the games is incredibly quick. And you can't have like a high control strategy or a long-term control strategy because you'll just die. So actually, I think this makes space in a way and allows other strategies to come forward, which makes the game more diverse and enjoyable. And I think I kind of agree with that. But anyway, those are the updates there. And of course, please, by all means, comment below and tell me what you think. Thank you very much for watching, and please give the video a like, subscribe and share. Goodbye.